Gulbayan and Brian Garland. And for the Knights, their starting five, it's a shakeup in the lineup for Iowa State. Similar starting five. We'll get to those in a moment. The opening tip going to be controlled by Iowa State as we are underway here at Hilton Coliseum. Another nice crowd here again on a Saturday afternoon as Emily Ryan will dump it into Audie Crooks, and the baskets get going early for Iowa State.
Not surprising that Iowa State enters the basketball into Audie Crooks immediately on that first possession. She is their first option on nearly every trip down the floor.
Starting five for UCF is Lucy Castagna, Mahogany Chandler-Roberts, Kayla Nogodu, Ali Stedman, and Achol Akok. And Iowa State fills it up from the perimeter as Ariana Jackson.
And if you're UCF, that's maybe the worst start that you could have hoped for when you're already shorthanded. Coach Satia Messer, third year here at UCF, but she was an assistant coach at Baylor for a number of years, so she is very familiar with this arena, and she said you have to account for about 15 points when you walk into Hilton Coliseum just because of the crowd and their enthusiasm for women's basketball.
The answer on this end, off the mark for Central Florida. Ryan looking to create as the Cyclones will get it into Crooks, but great defense that time by Nogodu. Aycock underneath, forced up a wild shot as this is going to be out of bounds. So Iowa State will get it back. An early 5-0 lead. Iowa State coming off of a win against BYU, 82-59. Overcame an early 11-point deficit today, getting out to a much better start.
Well, BYU hit some shots from the outside in that first quarter, but Addie Brown really took over the game in that second quarter on her way to that 20-plus point scoring output.
The Knights haven't played in a week. Their last game against Oklahoma State, a loss at home, 72-58. And this ball going to be knocked around. Iowa State will pick up the loose ball. Ryan on the drive. And she'll go to the line. Well, Emily Ryan, the 5'11 senior from Clapham, Kansas, just 10 points away from 1,500 for her career.
Penetration, tries to scoop it up with the right hand. Iowa State got to the free throw line pretty well against BYU, 24 of 31. Now, Addie Brown, Audie Crooks, those two players, I would say, taking the lion's share of those free throws, but I think Coach Fenley and team have to feel pretty good about getting to the line 31 times.
Ryan on the season right at 95%. And is able to knock both down as the Cyclones jump out to a 7-0 lead. Again, a little bit of a changeup for the Knights lineup. In fact, when you look at their stat sheet, their top three scorers out, that's 45 points of production. They're going to have to try to figure out how to come up with. That's the challenge. And Iowa State playing much better at home, just one loss on the season. As here's Crooks on the perimeter. Brown will give it into Crooks. Now the kick out, Harris for three. Crooks to the board and will go to the line. And Nogodu will pick up her second personal foul.
An interesting statistic from Wednesday night's game, BJ, is BYU turned the basketball over so often that for much of the game, BYU was out-rebounding Iowa State, even though Cyclones were in command for the most part in the second half. So we'll see. I don't know if that coaching staff maybe challenged Audie Crooks. She had just a pair of rebounds in that game. Maybe they challenged her a little bit. Nice job on the offensive glass just now.
And Audie able to get the first one to go down. On the season, right at 64%. Big 12 player of the week twice this season so far. And out to a 4-point effort. Iowa State 9-0 here on Central Florida. Into the game is Nevaeh Brown. She was a game time decision as Brown takes it in traffic And it'll be turned over as the Cyclones work it up the floor. This will be kicked out. It'll stay with Iowa State. 23 on the shot clock.
This is an Iowa State team will push when they have opportunities, but they're probably not looking to get into any type of track meet.
Double team is what Central Florida is showing. Jackson will attack the baseline, and she's got a quick 5.
Iowa State offense awfully smooth so far. 3 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 at the line.
Trying to square with the basket. Nagodu can't get the shot to fall. Crooks ahead to Ryan. Iowa State with a businesslike effort against BYU the other night, and signs of that again as Addie Brown will bang one off the glass for 2. 13-0 lead, and Satia Messer, the head coach for Central Florida, says, I need a timeout. She'll get one here. 6:14 to play here in the opening quarter. You're watching Big 12 basketball on ESPN+.
They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Maybe that's why scientists are trying to recreate real meat. But why tamper with what Mother Nature has already perfected? A high-quality protein, Iowa-raised meat is the original health food, with 9 essential amino acids necessary for the human diet, sustainably raised by Iowa farm families. But hey, keep at it. It's flattering that so many products want to be us.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
With their strength and versatility, there's almost no job John Deere compact utility tractors can't handle. With their powerful diesel engines and auto connect system, these tractors make your job easier. From mowing to hauling to snow removal, these machines do it all. And right now at Van Wall, you can get a John Deere 1023E for as little as $135 per month. Stop into your local Van Wall today or visit vanwall.com for more details.
Our customers have always been our priority.
Our customers are our family, and we want to make sure they know that we'll do everything in our power to lower prices, to be the place that they want to shop.
You're going to see the savings all over the store. We did a deep dive and we took advantage of every lower price, lower costs we could to make it better for our customers.
There's absolutely no reason to shop anywhere but Hy-Vee.
Everything you thought you knew is brand new.
We on a new wave. This ain't what it was.
See, when the game changes, so do we. Every day, every play. Always been greater than 12, now standing 16 strong. In every end zone, any time zone. When everyone else keeps asking, what's next? We know we are.
13-0, Iowa State with the lead on Central Florida. And the Knights, under their third season under Satia Messer. And you mentioned her resume. And when we got a chance to talk to her the other day, she said there's going to be ups and downs. And right now, not a lot of players available on their roster today, and she's trying to coach this team through it.
Yeah, Coach Messer played at Arkansas. Really nice career there and has been a long time on the sidelines in women's basketball as a head coach and assistant coach. Baylor, LSU, certainly Kim Mulkey, an influential figure in her coaching career.
And Nevaeh Brown will get the Golden Knights on the board with their first basket. Had started 0 for their first 5 from the floor. Showing zone underneath. Iowa State just into the game. Alyssa Williams able to get the bucket.
Seen UCF play quite a bit of zone defense this year. And with 7 bodies available and wanting to maybe pack it in on the inside, I think we'll probably see more of that.
This three, how about the roll for Brown, who gets it to go through. Little 3-2 zone shown by the Knights. Here's Ryan with 12 on the shot clock. The big skip pass to the corner. Jackson able to hit it.
Iowa State is a team that historically just doesn't see a lot of zone defenses. I feel like you see less and less zone defense in women's basketball these days, period. But historically, Iowa State, because they've had so many good three-point shooters, and not less of an inside game, but certainly not the impactful inside game that they have this season. But this Iowa State team was ready for it. Coach Finley fully expected zone defense out of UCF.
Now they switch it up a little bit, back to man-to-man.
Saw Iowa State score out of it pretty easily, maybe decided we need to switch things up.
Williams going to be called for the walk. That's Iowa State's second turnover. And for Iowa State, head coach Bill Finley, his 30th season here in Ames. 3 straight 20-plus win seasons. Think about the WNBA draft picks he's coached. 11 All-Americans.
Speaking of WNBA players who had nice careers, saw Brittany Wilkins here in the crowd. Had a really great senior season. And then a really nice pro career.
Allie Steadman able to fill it up. So different lineup out on the floor for Central Florida with Castagna, Brown, Acott, Ring, and Steadman. Iowa State with Jones, Brown, Williams, and Reagan Wilson, as Williams unable to get that shot to fall, and just losing the dribble that time was Nagodu.
Iowa State showing a lot of patience on that last possession. I was surprised Kelsey Jones didn't let her rip from that left corner.
Iowa State back to their bench. Audie Crooks into the game for Williams. Here's Brown at the top for three. Can't get the roll and the rebound of the Knights. Brown will look to attack. She's had the hot hand and cooled off as Brown comes up with a board. The entry pass going to be denied, knocked out. Iowa State will have it with 20 on the shot clock.
Well, active hands there by Ashola Acott. Between Acott and Ring, I mean, those are two players, 6'1", 6'5", and they've got some long, long arms. They can get their hands on a lot of shots, a lot of rebounds, a lot of passes.
Central Florida got down 13-0 early. And Brown fires the three, can't get it to fall. And Jones will fight for the board for Iowa State, right into Crooks. The kick out to Ryan for three, got it!
Emily Ryan shot breaks a little bit of a scoring drought for the Cyclones, now 3 of 7 from deep.
Here's Ring. And Crooks with a rebound. Some quick shots by Central Florida.
One thing Coach Messer told us yesterday is they're going to take a game like this a quarter at a time.
And Brown able to fill it up.
Telling her team, you know, there's a lot of season left. Haven't gotten a victory yet in conference play, but there's still a lot of meaningful basketball left. Now, you can't wait too long.
Castagna able to get the triple.
But there are still opportunities ahead.
This three, the answer by the freshman, Reagan Wilson. Cyclones by 16. Emily Ryan with 4 assists already. And coming into the game, had more than 125. Here's Crooks. Can't get the roll, as Ring had the good defense. Now Brown, the pull-up.
On Ring playing not at full front on Audie Crooks, but kind of playing a little more on the top side. Coach Finley talked about the many different looks that Audie has seen defensively. It seems like most recently a lot of folks aren't bringing a double immediately, but maybe once she puts the ball on the floor.
And a foul going to be called on the floor as Stedman was trying to box out Wilson. Little extra on the box, so she'll pick up the foul. Cyclones with 3 into the game off the bench. Williams along with Harris, and getting her first minutes here is going to be Eiley Tanky. And to the bench for Central Florida coming in is going to be Mahogany Chandler Roberts. She started the game, now back in. Also coming in is Acott, who just got a brief rest. Now Harris can't get the shot to fall. Inside of 50 seconds to play in the opening quarter. Brown again. Just couldn't get it to go down. She's coming in. She's been rapid fire. Wilson, the deep three. Nice looking to run here. There's about a 3-second difference between shot and game clock. And Coach Messer wants to take this one all the way down.
Well, Iowa State's pretty good offensively tonight. You don't want to give them any additional opportunities to score.
Castagna. Williams with a rebound. Closing seconds of the opening quarter. Wilson, the half-court heave, comes up short.
Considering they have a number of players out.
With Molly Parrott, I'm BJ Shaven here courtside at Hilton Coliseum as Central Florida will try to drive it inside, but a turnover committed by the Knights.
I think Ring maybe gets called for a travel there.
Out on the floor, they've got Castagna, Brown, Ring, Stedman, and Chandler Roberts. For Iowa State, Jackson, Ryan, Brown, Tanky, and Crooks.
Well, Iowa State scoring a lot of points in that first quarter. It's not as though they were on fire. It's 47%, respectable number, but they launched a bunch from downtown and connected on 40% of them.
Brown now with 6. Ariana Jackson leading the way for Iowa State with 8. Nevaeh Brown pacing Central Florida with 7. And how about the work underneath by Mahogany Chandler Roberts will draw contact and will now go to the line.
Good move to the basket on her initial action. Couldn't quite get it to fall, but she hangs in there. That's her 4th rebound already in this game.
Tanky will pick up the foul. Chandler Roberts, a very interesting story. Of course, the 6'2 freshman out of Portland, Oregon, making her way all the way to Orlando. Now, that's interesting within itself, but no one in her family played basketball, and she picked up the game, developed her own passion for it, and now look at her. And started out of Sydney, Australia, too, as well. What a trip. Able to get the free throws down. Here's Brown in the paint. Crooks with the rebound, and Audie able to fill it up.
6th rebound today for Crooks.
That's a determined effort on the glass today for Audie Crooks. Cyclones matching their largest lead here at 16. Brown shaking the defender and just couldn't get the shot to fall. So Iowa State going back to their bench. Lily Hansford, the junior, will check in for Tanky. Now from the top, that's Brown. Ring will grab another rebound. Ring gonna drive in, and a foul will be called here on Crooks. Back to the bench for the Knights. Acott will check in. And along with Ngodu. So 21 on the shot clock after that foul. Second foul in the quarter on Iowa State. Cyclones in the man-to-man. Brown tries to hit it to the side, knocked away. Stays with Central Florida. That shot clock winding down, and Crooks with another rebound. Audie going to be called for a step.
Well, she wanted to show off her fancy footwork. Show us that her game has expanded even more so.
Now Alyssa Williams will come into the contest. So Central Florida, in case you're joining us late, came into the contest. A number of players are injured or didn't make the trip. Top 3 scores on their stat sheet out. And got down early 13-0. But Nevaeh Brown, who's got the ball right now, was really the catalyst for them to get the points on the board, but trying to make a comeback here.
Well, if not for getting down so big early, they've been hanging right in there really since the first few minutes. Respectable since that early point in the game. And as I had mentioned, Coach Messer said, Hilton's such a hard place to play. It's like you're spotting 15 points, and that's almost exactly what happened. Because of the crowd here at Hilton, she said, you know, we're trying to pump in a little bit of music during practice, some crowd noise, try to simulate Iowa State's faithful crowd as much as we can. And this is a young UCF team when you look at who is suited up. Of the 7 available, 2 are freshmen and 2 are sophomores. So this is an intimidating environment to put those youngsters in.
UCF switching things up to a 1-3-1. Here's Brown at the high post. And she's got 8.
And it doesn't seem to matter what UCF tries. Iowa State has adjusted really well, reading defenses very effectively.
Now Nagodu. She's got back-to-back buckets now for Central Florida. Lead trimmed back down to 14 here. Jackson's 3. Ring with the rebound, and Brown tries to run it. How about the rise and fire? That one off the mark. Ring, the putback is there.
Well, this is a good offensive rebounding team. I mentioned earlier some of the players with some long arms, some athleticism. Good example of it right there for Ring.
Williams going to be called for a walk.
I think we got a foul,
oh, foul
potentially.
First.
I hate to correct you, but
no, you're right. I was watching the feet.
Yeah, I think Coach Messer was thinking the same, but Elisa Williams will take it.
And Brown going to pick up the foul there. Now Elisa Williams to the line. Playing in her 21st game this season. That free throw in and out. Just at 54% on the season is Williams. Now with 3 in the game. So Crooks back in for Williams. Iowa State on the floor with Hansford, Ryan, Brown, Harris, and Crooks. For Central Florida, Castagna, Acott, Ring, Stedman, and Nagodu. Here is Nagodu on the baseline and put her foot on it.
Well, we mentioned in the pregame segment that Addie Brown and Audie Crooks had combined for 46 points on Wednesday night against BYU. If you're following along as well tonight, Ariana Jackson actually sharing scoring honors with Addie Brown so far, but the double A's in that sophomore class for Iowa State, Addie and Audie combining for 14 points.
Hansford's 3, got it!
But that feels good for Lily.
It's just her second triple of the season. A three-point shooter, known for a three-point shooting last season when playing for Oregon State. And this year out to a very slow start. That'll pick her up.
Just hasn't been able to find the bottom of the net too often this year, and when you're a shooter, that sure is frustrating. Like I said, I bet that one felt good. Probably a sigh of relief.
They caught underneath. Little strong ring, the putback not there, and Ryan will secure the rebound. Crooks going to be pushed by Nagodu.
This is the second team foul of the quarter for the Knights.
And Kyla will pick up her second.
And this UCF team, they really just cannot afford any type of foul trouble. It'll be interesting as this game continues and these 7 players continue to hang in there. See how gassed they are. 'Cause some of these players don't often play all that many minutes.
Well, you think about it too, just 7 players active today for Central Florida. Been teams in the past in the league. Last year in particular, TCU didn't even make the trip, and the game was canceled. But the Knights and Coach the TMS are saying they want to fight till the end. Crooks with another bucket.
Yeah, we asked her, how do you want people to identify your team, or if you're recruiting someone, what are some of the characteristics that you want your squad to be known by? And that's exactly what she said, that we're going to fight. And I think you're seeing that tonight. Now, Iowa State was up early, and UCF just doesn't go away. I mean, they're down 16, yes, but the way the game started for the Knights, it really could have gotten out of a hand in a hurry.
Brown will go in to Crooks. Good defense by the Knights. Stedman out in front. Gets the roll, and that's her second basket of the game. Crooks. Good feed and a strong finish for Audie Crooks. Back now in double figures with 10, along with those 7 rebounds. Stedman's 3, well short. Audie with the lob to Brown. Little strong. It's going to stay with Iowa State. 18 on the shot clock, and that's going to bring us to a timeout on the floor. Cyclones lead it by 16. You're watching Big 12 basketball on ESPN+. To 24, Iowa State with a lead on Central Florida by 16. You see the Cyclones out to that 14-7 start, trying to get their 6th win. They've really picked things up as of late.
Well, it's interesting, BJ. Oftentimes when you look at teams' full game statistics individually for a season and then just their conference statistics, in a challenging league like Iowa State is in the Big 12, a lot of times statistics go down individually in conference play. Not for some of these Iowa State Cyclones. Audie Crooks, for example, averaging over 23 a game. Addie Brown averaging more in Big 12 play. I think that just illustrates how challenging their non-conference slate was.
And Bill Fenley saying it was a big week for them. Now a 3-second violation called against Lily Tolale, the sophomore just checking into the game, the transfer from UMass. And he's big week because they got back-to-back home games. And that travel schedule was turning into a grind.
First week back in class, because these are student athletes after all. They do have academic things to tend to as well. So that just makes it a little bit busier, but I think it's nice to get back into a routine that should be pretty consistent. Your travel, of course, is inconsistent, but nice to get back into a routine as far as your day-to-day, your classes.
Wilson, her second triple.
Oh, Reagan Wilson must have been listening when the coaching staff said to expect some zone defense, because she's really been ready to receive the basketball along the arc, be ready to shoot. She's got that shooting pocket ready.
The dump down to Tolale.
Nice athletic move by Tolale. She was maybe behind or underneath that basket or backboard a little bit, had to make an athletic shot.
Now Brown will back it out to set up shop here. Trying to use that double screen high. Now the 3 ball. Off the mark. Strong rebound by Akot.
Cyclones have hit 5 field goals in a row. UCF was hanging right in there with about 6 minutes remaining in this half.
And now a charge can be called on the freshman. How about the defense that time for Akot? As a sophomore, gives Reagan Wilson, the freshman, her first personal.
Yeah, I mean, Akot is 6'1", and for her to be able to come out and defend in space like that is impressive.
Castagna will come back into the game for Stedman. Also Chandler Roberts. Here's Brown. And a double dribble will be called against Castagna. 1:36 to play here in the first half. It's been an interesting day in Big 12 Conference play. We'll have a full recap of that, plus a couple of games a little bit later on this evening. In fact, there are no more unbeaten teams in league play.
And that sure happened quickly.
Yeah.
Because going into Wednesday night, there were a pair at the top.
TCU suffering a setback. Now today, Kansas State goes down. Ten on the shot clock. Castagna. And an offensive board, a fresh 30 for Central Florida, but they'll turn it right back over. Cyclones out on the floor. They've got Brown, Tanky, Jones, Tolale, and Jackson. Here's Tanky. Now Brown. Shot rejected away by Ring. Out of the top, Brown. Can't get it to fall. Ring gets the board, but a foul will be called here on Iowa State on the rebound.
We've seen a couple deep shots for UCF hit off the front of the rim. Do the legs start to become a factor for the Knights when they're only playing 7 players? I was just going to say, Knights shooting 33% from the field, just 2 of 10 from deep.
Tanky's going to pick up her second, so she'll sit. 35 seconds to go. There's about a 5-second difference, depending on if Central Florida can get the free throws to go down here. As Ring will toe the line. 63% on the season, misses her first one.
Not many free throws in this game.
No.
Iowa State 5 of 6 and UCF 3 of 4.
Ring now with 5. Central Florida being paced by Brown 7. Iowa State led by Audrey Crooks with 10. 6-second difference between shot and game clock. Jones is 3 off the mark. Rebound tapped out. Castagna will pick it up. Shot clock off. Ring on the drive. Ryan will pick her pocket. Numbers for Iowa State. Ryan to Brown to cap it off. Castagna, the horn has it taken away by Ryan. That'll be the end of the first half. Iowa State to their largest lead at 20. ESPN2 tomorrow afternoon. So the second half ready to get underway. Out on the floor for Iowa State, it will be Ryan, Jackson, Brown, Harris, and Crooks. For UCF, starting the second half with Castagna, Acott, Stedman, Chandler Roberts, and Nagodu.
Good news for UCF. They only have one player with 2 personal fouls, and when you only have a bench of 7 total, last thing you want is for folks to be sitting next to the coach because you're worried about fouls.
Nagodu. Crooks with another strong board, her 8th of the game, nearing that double-double. Ryan inside to Brown, has it deflected away. Going to be last touch by Central Florida, 20 on the shot clock. Well, think about that. I know we're sitting here in January, but Kansas City, about a month and a handful of days away. Brown's 3 off the mark.
Hard for me to believe that we're already almost halfway through the Big 12 conference slate. Now, there are a few teams who this is their 8th game this weekend, but for Iowa State, they're at the midway point after this.
Nagodu with the handoff to Castagna will reset with 10 on the shot clock. Stedman will put it on the deck and will go to the line now. The foul going to be called on Harris.
Harris getting the start the last several games, really since she had a nice weekend down in Arizona a few weeks ago. Hasn't quite been able to get into a rhythm today. She's 0 of 3 from the floor. Does have a couple of assists.
Stedman to the line, the 5'9" senior out of Phoenix. That's her first miss of the season. Was a perfect 4 of 4 coming into this game. Her mom going to be rooting on the Eagles tomorrow. She's a former Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader.
Wow.
That's tomorrow.
That's a fun piece of trivia.
Here's Harris for 3. Nobody's scored yet, or except for one free throw. As that shot knocked down by Stedman. Ryan's 3. In and out. Jackson will keep it alive for Iowa State. Now Brown inside to Crooks will have it knocked or foul from behind by Nagodu. And that'll be her 3rd.
See what Iowa State draws up on this baseline out of bounds play. Certainly a strength of head coach Bill Finley in his 30 years in Ames.
Brown to the corner to Jackson. Knocks it down, does Ariana Jackson, her 3rd triple of the game, now in double figures.
She is just so good on the defensive end. I mean, I think it's a little tougher to recognize her defensive greatness in a game like this, maybe when you don't have a dominant offensive player in the guard court for UCF. Now, if Caitlin Peterson, their leading scorer, would have been in this game, that sure would have been an entertaining matchup. I imagine Ariana would have drawn that defensive assignment.
Peterson not making the trip. And injuries have plagued Central Florida. Lineup down to just 7 players today, as Jackson will pick up the foul here for Iowa State. That'll be her first. Lily Hansford will now come into the lineup. So Nevaeh Brown will shoot free throws here. And able to hit the free throw.
Knights shooting about 69% on the season. Of course, with some of their leading scorers out, it's a little hard to dissect those statistics, or really many of the team statistics, just because it's such a different team today that's available.
Iowa State jumping out in this game to a 13-point lead. Hansford She looks right on cue. Now her 5th 3 on the season for Hansford.
And you can tell that one felt good. She started to trot in the other direction before it went down. If Iowa State can have Lily Hansford knocking down threes consistently, that will be a huge win because she gives them some things defensively that other players don't because of that length that she has, her wingspan. She can be a consistent threat for them. She seems to like that left-hand corner.
Iowa State by 21 here. Jackson shakes to the defender and hits the jumper. And a timeout going to be taken here by Central Florida. 55-32, 6:38 to play here in the third quarter. You're watching Big 12 basketball on ESPN+.
Cyclone fans know it's worth the hype. Unleaded 88 is cheaper, cleaner, and greener than regular unleaded. Plus, it's renewable and grown by farmers, making Unleaded 88 the clear choice at the pump and totally worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
They say that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Maybe that's why scientists are trying to recreate real meat. But why tamper with what Mother Nature has already perfected? A high-quality protein, Iowa-raised meat is the original health food, with 9 essential amino acids necessary for the human diet, sustainably raised by Iowa farm families. But hey, keep at it. It's flattering that so many products want to be us.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
With their strength and versatility, there's almost no job John Deere compact utility tractors can't handle. With their powerful diesel engines and auto connect system, these tractors make your job easier. From mowing to hauling to snow removal, these machines do it all. And right now at Van Wall, you can get a John Deere 1023E for as little as $135 per month. Stop into your local Van Wall today or visit vanwall.com for more details.
When we say charge on, we commit to do extraordinary things, to put in the work, to be smarter and stronger, to let them know we're coming. Charge on! Charge on!
55-32, Iowa State with the advantage here on Central Florida. Ariana Jackson, how about this? You see her season average and what she's been able to do today.
Well, we talk so much about Ariana, what she does on the defensive end. But offensively, when she's called upon, like today she has been, she was ready to step up and knock down threes, has 3 of them today. You could tell early on this coaching staff had talked to guards about being available from three-point distance and needing to knock down shots because Reagan Wilson, Ariana Jackson, Lily Hansford, several Cyclones in the guard court were been ready to let it fly.
Jackson just involved in that defensive effort to give Iowa State the possession right back. Here's Crooks. And Iowa State will turn it over. Out on the floor for Central Florida, Castagna, Acott, Ring, Stedman, and Chandler Roberts. And Stedman going to be called for the walk.
Teams trade turnovers. Pretty okay game as far as ball handling. Iowa State with just 8 turnovers, starting to pile up a little bit for UCF. Now they now have 13.
Cyclones out on the floor with Jackson, Hansford, Wilson, Brown, and Crooks. Hansford from the wing. She is dialed in.
She wants the basketball. We love to see that in any basketball player who's maybe had a little bit of a shooting slump. You love to see them find their rhythm again because they work so hard at it. Gosh, I can only imagine how much she's been in the gym these last few months just trying to get back on track.
Both Jackson and Hansford each with 3 threes. Iowa State as a unit today, 9 3-pointers as Audie Crooks gets her first basket of the second half, now with 12.
And it was just a week and a half ago when Iowa State played Texas Tech, and they only attempted, 7 in that game? And their long streak of consecutive games with a 3-pointer ended. That was a game where Iowa State didn't need the 3-pointers, but today they've taken full advantage.
We've got a timeout on the floor. 4:53 to go here in the third. Cyclones lead it by 28. (60-32), Iowa State with the advantage here on Central Florida. You see the field goal numbers today. Iowa State at 51% coming into the game, 5th in the Big 12, right at 47%, and a lot of those high percentage shots for Iowa State.
The Cyclones knocking down 9 of 23 from downtown and really looking to get the basketball into the paint. From the opening tip, that first possession, Audie Crooks was the primary target. She scored easily, but her scoring then on the inside, it opens up scoring on the outside, and then your teammates hit down some triples, it opens the inside back up.
Hansford will get it inside to Crooks, who will be fouled by a cot.
In a game like this, when you have several different players hitting down multiple triples, Ariana Jackson and Lily Hansford with 3 apiece, Wilson with a couple, Emily Wilson with 1. Just makes it so hard. You have to pick. Are you going to double in on Audie Crooks? You've got 3 or 4 different shooters out on the perimeter, and then you have somebody like an Addie Brown who can do inside and outside. And many times Addie, has caught the basketball kind of in that free throw line area against the zone defense. She's been able to catch in there and really distribute either into Audie in the post or kick it out to shooters. Multiple weapons.
Iowa State now 7 of 8 from the line. Crooks a perfect 4 of 4. As now Brown will go up top. Ring challenged, takes the jumper, can't hit it. And a foul on the rebound going to be called against UCF. That goes against Chandler Roberts. That'll be her second.
Cyclones in the middle of a 12-0 run here. You wonder if the legs are starting to get a little weary for the Knights. They've turned the basketball over 4 times in the last 3 minutes.
Now trying to put some pressure on are the Golden Knights.
See if they can maybe change the pace of the game a little bit, get Iowa State out of their rhythm.
That rebound tapped out, last touch by Iowa State. Three Cyclones in double figures, Crooks, Brown, and Jackson. And right now, Nevaeh Brown leading the way with 9 for Central Florida as that one's tossed away.
Oh, nice catch over there in the front row. Good hands. I would have liked it if he would have had some popcorn in his hand. That would have been more entertaining. Yeah, I mean, they don't don't serve adult beverages here out on the court, but man, or if he has like something in his hand and like the popcorn flies, maybe a drink spills, and then there's some other action. I don't know, just to when it's a 30-point difference, I'm all for some additional entertainment. Like a baseball game when somebody like, you know, they're drinking their beverage and they catch it with their other hand.
Looking for a top 10 play. Stedman's three. Well, that'll do for Central Florida as they get their 4th triple of the game.
Stedman well above her season average, 10 points. Averages about 4 per game on the season.
Now Wilson's three. Hansford with the rebound and then fouled by Stedman.
Well, for Iowa State being up not quite 30 points due to that last 3-pointer by Stedman, Cyclones only out-rebounding the Knights by 4. This is a UCF team that's pretty good on the offensive glass on the season.
Lily Tolale coming into the game, gets the ball on the inbounds, has it denied. And this is going to go to Central Florida. Also on the floor for Iowa State, Hansford, Ryan, Wilson, and Brown. For UCF, it's Castagna, Brown, Ring, Stedman, and Chandler Roberts. Stedman allowed the defense to clear, just going to get the shot to fall. Brown, the dish, and Tolale will go to the line. Addie Brown, I mean, she is a triple-double threat, and Bill Fennelly gave her such high praise coming into the weekend here, saying she's getting into a rhythm, practicing like she is the best player in the Big 12 Conference.
I think she was pleased with herself in the past that she just dumped down to her teammate. The facial expression that she had was a little bit of like, I did that. Sydney Harris sitting on the sideline, made some little goggles with her hands as though to say, maybe I see you. Now, I'm not with the lingo. You probably are. You have teenagers. But anyway, fun to see some players having some fun banter back and forth, encouraging each other.
2:24 to play here in the third quarter. Here's Brown with the right hand from the left side, and will go to the line for an and one. And Taulale will pick up her first.
11 points for Brown.
See, she's above her season averages. Can't get the free throw to go. Hansford left open. That's not a good thing to do today. That's her 4th triple.
She is hunting her shot. Not much daylight there to get that one off. You can tell that a shooter is feeling it in a situation like that. She doesn't need a lot of daylight.
Ten on the shot clock. Brown trying to work on the freshman, will pull up. What a strong shot by Nevaeh Brown. Hansford again. This one in and out.
She's human.
Lily Hansford today from three-point range, 4 of 5. And going to the line, drawing the contact there was Nagodu. And gets the N1.
12 points for Lily Hansford. As I'm taking a look here, that's a career high for her. Of course, she played at Oregon State before transferring to Iowa State. On the season this year, she scored 4 points. That's her season high, but 3 different times as a Beaver she scored a dozen.
Nagodu now with 7. I think that's back-to-back games for her, for Nagodu, in which she's been able to get as many points. Hansford open. Can't get it to fall. Now the rebound to Castagna. Wilson will tip it up. It'll stay with Central Florida. 22 on the shot clock. She mentioned career high for Lily, but a lot of confidence back.
Yep. I can just tell she's really hunting her shot, much more so than she has been. It seems like sometimes she and others, when you're not shooting it as well as you know you're capable of doing, it's almost like you shoot and you're just hoping it goes in. And that is not the look that she has in her eye today. It's definitely shooting to make. And that's something that Coach Finley has mentioned at points this season, is trying to help these players understand. We're not asking them to do anything they haven't done before. We're not asking them to do anything that they can't do. We have a lot of belief in our shooters. There's just times when there's shooting percentages ebb and flow. And for Iowa State, they're happy that a number of folks are hitting tonight.
Tolole with the feed from Ryan. The third quarter is over. We'll go to the final 10. Iowa State up 67-42. You're watching Big 12 basketball on ESPN+.
It's about a 15-point differential when you walk in the door. And really, for the most part, it's been about, I mean, they did expand that lead, Iowa State, that is, about midway through the second quarter, and it's been about this 25-point differential. But it's really that big deficit to start the game is what really made things hard for UCF.
Crooks working to get her shot and knocks it down.
And Iowa State has certainly experimented with some other lineups. Some folks have gotten into the game that haven't seen as much game action lately.
Out on the floor for Central Florida here to begin the last quarter. Castagna, Brown, Ring, Stedman, and Nagodu. As Crooks will get the board for Iowa State, and then a push called on Ring. Joining Audie on the floor, Hansford, Ryan, Brown, and Tanky. Audie, again, getting that one-on-one matchup and will cash in. She's got 18.
Yeah, and she just squirts between 2 black jerseys there. Looked like maybe that second night player was going to come over and provide a little bit of help defense, and Audie's still able to find the window between them.
Brown will go to the high post. Nagodu to Ring. Nagodu off to Ring. Good give and go for the Knights as they get the bucket.
7 points for Ring. We had featured her in our pregame segment, highlighting the 12 points she scored against Oklahoma State a week ago in their last contest.
Brown left it short. Now Nevaeh Brown will drive and finish. What a game for Nevaeh Brown, now with 15. Came in averaging just over 5. Hansford from the corner. Can't get the roll. Made her first 4, but has missed her last 3. Brown will cash in on this end.
7-0 run for the Knights.
Crooks can't handle the pass. It's going to stay with Iowa State. 19 on the shot clock. As Achol Akot will come in. Brown to Tanky, open at the top. Can't get it to fall. Ryan with a rebound. Into Crooks with her left hand.
Great job by Audie Crooks. As soon as Iowa State had gained possession of that basketball, Emily Ryan with the offensive rebound, the kick out to Tanky, and Audie Crooks is just ready to establish that low block position, and UCF just really no opportunity to defend that. I mean, she just buries her defender so deep. There's really no stopping her.
Crooks on the block, the fade. Castagna with the rebound. She'll drive the jumper off, partially deflected by Ryan. That's her second block in the game. And now the dish to Brown. She'll rise and fire and hit. Now with 13 in the game, Addie Brown.
5 different Cyclones knocking down triples tonight.
Ring with the long jumper. Ryan just going to work on the dribble. Now to Crooks with the right hand, and she'll be fouled and will go to the line. Ring will pick up her third personal foul, the second team foul here in the quarter on Central Florida.
Addie Brown with that versatility, knocking it down, the triple. Just 1 of 5 on the day from beyond the arc, but you mentioned the 13 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. She had a similar stat line against BYU the other night, except she had several more points, 22 of them. Knocking on the door of a triple-double.
And hits both free throws. 54 straight games in which Audie Crooks has scored in double figures.
Well, for Iowa State, they haven't played their usual rotation quite as many minutes. They haven't had to, I guess I should say. And they have a rare Thursday night game. They'll travel down to Manhattan, Kansas for a very tough contest against the Wildcats. So I think this is probably a welcome sight for the Iowa State coaching staff, that maybe some of their usual players aren't playing as many minutes. Gets to be this point in the season, excuse me, BJ, I was just gonna say, it gets to be this point in the season and it's such a grind. Coach Fenleo mentioned, you're not really practicing that long because people are banged up here and there. You want to save legs. Sometimes you're playing 3 games a week, depending on your scheduling. So that I'm sure they are appreciative of an opportunity to save those legs a bit.
Yeah, the week ahead for Iowa State, you mentioned the K-State game, and then they turn around and play TCU back here at Hilton Coliseum. What a stretch.
Yeah, a rare Thursday, Sunday week.
And Tolole going to be called for the foul, away from the ball. So a 29-point game. Nevaeh Brown with the ball right now, hitting a season-high 18 points. Career high is 25 when she was playing at East Tennessee. Here's a 3, and before the shot, an offensive foul going to be called on Central Florida.
Nice job by Sydney Harris to step in and take that charge.
So to lead us to a timeout on the floor. 4:53 to play. Cyclones out in front. (78-49) Iowa State with a lead on Central Florida. And for the Knights, their upcoming schedule, they've got back-to-back home games coming up here next week. Baylor will be in town, and then they'll host Houston before traveling out to Utah, and then playing back at home against Arizona State on February the 12th. So an interesting jaunt ahead for UCF for Iowa State. We mentioned K-State, TCU, then on the road at Cincinnati. Colorado at home on the 8th, and then traveling down to Lawrence to take on the Jayhawks. Sydney Harris gets into the scoring column.
Yeah, Iowa State, like we said, with a bit of a rare Thursday-Sunday slate this week. If you're looking for a good game to catch in Hilton Coliseum, that next Sunday game against TCU should be interesting.
Ring will put it on the deck, spinning hard to her left. Can't get it to fall. It will stay with the Knights. Iowa State with 3 off the bench into the game. And Williams, Jones, and Wilson sitting out will be Jackson, Hansford, and Harris.
Good for some Iowa State players to get some additional run in this game, not only from a resting perspective, but I think from a confidence perspective as well. You never know when you might need somebody to step up and be a factor in a game.
Well, in Central Florida, I mean, writing the book on that today, just 7 players dressed for the Knights.
Well, I give Coach Messer and her team a lot of credit. They have come here and they have played really hard. Tough environment. They've got 4 of the 7 are underclassmen.
Brown working. Now Chandler Roberts shot off the mark. Tanky just could not get the handle. Rebound lost out of bounds. It'll stay with Central Florida. They've got 20 on the clock. You know, Florida experiencing snow this week, and we had a chance to talk to the Knights a little bit about that. Because it was so cold in Florida, they had to pull out parkas. In fact, interestingly enough, had to get them designed for winter clothing. They didn't have a whole lot.
And it's actually relatively, it's not that cold in Ames today. I mean,
no.
Compared to what we had maybe a week or so ago in some of those very frigid temperatures.
Is that shot off the mark? You know, interesting swap of weather. Ames, Iowa, not experiencing much snow this year.
Yeah.
Here, Florida, the Panhandle got dropped 8 inches, far away from Orlando, though.
Yes.
As Williams will get the bucket.
You know, talking about Coach Messer, and you know, certainly when we chatted with her yesterday, we didn't know. You know, coaches aren't going to tell the TV people all the things. We didn't know that there would only be 7 traveling, but you know, she's not making any excuses for her team. She's talking about quarter at a time and toughness, and has a ton of positivity, and was very generous with the time that she gave us. And Coach Fenley, of course, and all these coaches, they talk so much about life lessons and athletics preparing you for life. And you know, if you're UCF, this is a tough situation. You're coming into a very tough environment. You only have 7 players available. A few players are banged up, but you got to show up, right? You can't just stay home because you maybe can't put your best foot forward. So give them a lot of credit.
Brown now with a season-high 19. Make it a 20-piece for Nevaeh Brown. You think about the road trips Central Florida's had this season, getting back from Colorado at 5 a.m. And, you know, and Coach Messer saying they had to make sure that everybody got into class the next day. Even though they landed at 5 a.m., the sun was starting to come up when they got out of the airport. It's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
For all the teams in all the leagues.
Yeah, across the country, right? I mean, you're hearing coaches and their sound bites around travel, and I think when conference realignment happened, there were a lot of people that thought, gosh, this is going to be really hard on these student athletes. And I wouldn't want to fly in when the sun's coming up at 5 a.m. and then have to go to class, but these players and these coaches are doing it.
All part of it. Here's Brown. What a crossover to get free. Just going to get it to fall. And a foul here on Iowa State. Tanky will pick up her 4th personal.
4 players in double figures for Iowa State. Audie Crooks, as we mentioned, with 22. Some other players with 13 and 12 apiece. Jackson, Hansford, Brown.
Ring on the block. The hook won't go. Iowa State working on that game clock. Inside of 10 here on the shot clock. Now to Tolole. Can't get it to fall, and the shot does go through on the putback, if you will, by Elisa Williams.
Yeah, nice heads-up play by number 3, realizing that shot clock was near expiration.
Williams now with 7.
She's only played 8 minutes. That's a quite productive stat line for 8 minutes of action. 5 rebounds. Goodness.
Now Stedman. That's wide of the mark. Iowa State will get it back here with 1:10 to play. Cyclones jumping out to a big lead early on. Nevaeh Brown trying to keep Central Florida in it with a season high today. You mentioned number of Iowa State players in double figures, 4 of them paced by Audie Crooks, double-double, 22 points, 11 rebounds, and a 3 to boot for Iowa State. That is their 11th three-pointer. Make it their 12th.
6 Cyclones now knocking down triples.
As Jones got that 3. Here's Brown. She gets a 3 to answer on this end.
7 of 16 shooting today. 8 of 17. 3 of 6 from downtown.
About a 6-second difference between shot and game clock. Jones in traffic. We'll give it to Wilson. Now Tanky for 3. Can't get it to fall. Williams on the rebound, fouled with 11 seconds to play.
Williams definitely making the most of her time today.
Certainly has. As Hansford will come in for Jones. She's got a slight limp as she leaves the game. Lisa now with 8. And rebound tipped around goes to Central Florida. The final seconds of this one. Iowa State putting up 90 today on Central Florida. And will walk away with a 34-point win to improve to 15-7 overall.